USC women basketball.
Welcome to the latest episode of Trojans Wired, the podcast, which is an in-house production of the website Trojans Wire. We are part of the College Wire Network. Happy Thanksgiving from Trojans Wire and from USC women's basketball analyst CC Clay. Joining us for our Thanksgiving show, we review Tennessee Tech. We preview Friday's game against Pepperdine. Obviously, we would not record a show on Thanksgiving Day, so we're coming at you on Wednesday, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. CC, happy Thanksgiving, and give us your overview of what you saw against Tennessee Tech.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Make sure you love on your family tomorrow. That's the most important and impactful meaning of Thanksgiving to me. It's just love on your family and love on your friends. So happy Thanksgiving. So I want to first start out by saying it was a great comeback game, which they needed. They needed that. They need some of these good wins and big wins to help their confidence so they can get out of their own heads. And I thought last night they showed that they're coming along. I mean, I saw some things last night that I was like, oh, okay, they're coming along. They're starting to get more comfortable, playing together and understanding people's positioning and cohesiveness and so on and so forth. So that impressed me. And, yeah, it was good. Tennessee Tech is a mid-level team, but you can play bad against a mid-level team too. Oftentimes, I want to point out, people, when they play these mid-level teams, they play down to the mid-level team's level a lot of times. And last night, USC didn't do that. USC came out ready to play. You could tell they wanted a get back. You can tell that the Notre Dame game truly affected them, and that's not who they are, and they wanted to show that we're a much better team than that. So we're going to correct the mistakes that we made during the Notre Dame game.
Jazzy Davidson flourishing. That has to be one of the main takeaways from the game. What did you see with her evolution on the court, how she performed, how she reacted, your overview of Jazzy?
Yeah, she's starting to look like she's comfortable, and maybe that's due to the coaches constantly talking to her and letting her know it's okay to be the number one option, or it's okay to play your game. You don't have to try to fit in to make everybody else as, equal as they need to be or as you feel they need to be. Go out and play your game. And I saw a little bit of Jazzy just taking control last night, just doing things that she's just so fluid. She's just such a fluid player to watch. She's graceful on the court. I'm telling you, she reminds me of a ballerina on the court, the way she plays. And she doesn't look the part. She's slim. She doesn't look like she'd be aggressive. She just, but when she gets out on that court, she's totally opposite. She looks like a 6'3", 180-pound baller that's ready to take on anybody, So that was impressive to me. Fun fact, one of the co-journalists in the post-game press conference last night told me that Jazzy's performance, the double-double that she had with 20 points and 16 rebounds, was the first since Rhea Marshall did it, Rhea Marshall's sophomore season. Now, that was what was said, that, that hopefully is true, so I'm not putting out false facts, but I think we're going to fact check that to make sure that that's accurate information. But if so, that's just awesome to see.
I think one question to ask coming out of this game and dovetailing with Jazzy Davidson having a fantastic game. Do you see like a possible domino effect, like Jazzy finding herself? How do you think that might have a ripple effect on the rest of the USC offense?
I think the whole team is finding themselves because in the first couple of games their shooting was not very good, and you see in the last two performances their shooting has been what it has been expected to be. So they're shooting over 50% from two and over 40% from three. The last two games says a lot about them getting comfortable, them finding their spots, and just kind of flowing within the offense. And I still think the coaches are, have work to do in finding that cohesive bunch that really fits well together, but they're starting to show, a comfort level now where I can throw the ball here. This is my spot over here. Hit me over here. Hit me up high. Hit me up low. Give me a bounce pass. I'm going to cut here. And you saw a little bit of that last night.
All right. Obviously, Jazzy gets the headlines, but who among the supporting cast did you identify in particular as perhaps making some important forward steps in
Viv.
her evolutionary arc?
Viv. Viv played really well last night, and actually, Lindsay gave her props last night in the post game press conference as to her getting better and better and how she's putting in the work. So I think Viv, by the time she gets through the season and ready for next season, we're going to see a whole different Viv. She's starting to understand her flow. She understands what she's good at, what she needs to improve on, and she's putting in the work every day to do that, and it's starting to show in the games now.
What did you see from this team at the defensive end of the floor? Also, in terms of rebounding, coming out of Notre Dame, we talked about, this team needs to be tougher, smarter about rebounding, boxing out, putting a body on someone. Chart this team's performance in those areas.
They're getting better. They're getting better at rebounding. Tennessee Tech was a smaller team, so I expected our rebounding to be a lot better. But what impressed me the most was I think they got 15 blocks as a team. It just looked impressive doing it. Like they had hands all over the place. So that was impressive to me. Again, their defensive rating put them in the 92 percentile across all NCAA. So finally starting to show that defensive ability that we know that they can be.
In terms of areas of improvement, areas of that still need work on. Anything else from like the stat sheet or the analytics that really struck you coming out of Tennessee Tech?
I just think it's the same. It's on the defensive end. Just the defensive handsy, knowing your position, knowing when to come help side, knowing when to hedge, calling out screens, boxing out. It's everything that they need to improve on is on the defensive end, and they'll get there. Offensively, showing their flow, they're getting into the flow better and understanding the offense is a little bit better. So I think that's a learning curve too, because it's a new offense somewhat this year, so they're all having to learn the new offensive structure as well.
Just on that last point about offense, any particular half court actions, patterns, floor spacing, positioning elements that you're seeing in terms of how the pieces are coming together for the structure of offense that Lindsay Gottlieb wants for this team?
The floor spacing was great. I thought that the one thing that stood out to me was they're taking advantage of smaller guards playing on Jazzy and Kennedy and starting to throw over the top down low or sealing them down low so they can get better positioning. So I thought that was impressive. And I just think that now they're, when they're looking at their scouts, they're understanding player dynamics of the other team and really trying to take advantage of the holes that other team is presenting to them.
All right. I think that's a good opportunity for a segue, a transition to Friday's game against Pepperdine.
Wait, I got to give Kennedy her flowers because again, she scored 9 points, had 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. That's a stat line that any coach would want a player to do. Kennedy Smith, for the viewers to understand just how much of an impact she is for this team. When she's not on that floor, USC doesn't play as well together as a unit. Kennedy keeps that team together, and Kennedy's stat line across the board, you can't ask for much more than what she's doing defensively and offensively with the energy that she's exerting. So just shout out to Kennedy for continuing to play through the challenges that she's having, shooting the ball, and just being able to help her team and be impactful in other ways all the time.
Well, it's one of the hallmarks of USC women's basketball under Lindsay Gottlieb and Beth Burns that whatever happens at one end of the court, it doesn't affect the other end of the court, and you have players invested in doing everything to help the team win. They're not looking for stats. Yeah. They're not looking for points. It's how to help the team win, and you do that on the glass. You do that with defense. You do that with passing as well. Setting screens, things that will never show up in a box score. Kennedy Smith always willing to do that no matter what. It's one of her best qualities.
People have to remember that impact in a basketball game means so much more than scoring 30 points. So how impactful can you be on the court for your team? Just like we talked in our last podcast, how can you help your team win other than scoring, because those are the little details and the most important parts of a basketball game that people don't see. The little things that go on, behind the scenes other than scoring, your positioning, how you're helping, how you're rebounding, how you're passing the ball. There's just so much to a basketball game when you talk about a chess match. It's chess, not checkers when you talk about basketball. So impact is a big word, and people need to realize that there are a lot of people on this USC team where when they're not scoring, they are providing impact. And Kennedy Smith is a true testament of that. So I just wanted to give Kennedy her flowers today.
One thing that people need to remember about basketball is that, if you're scoring 30 points, but you're a turnstile on defense and you allow your opponent to score 40, like that's not a net positive for your team. And like that's something to keep in mind. So like if you're scoring 12, but yeah, you're pulling down 8 rebounds, you're handing out 7 assists, you get 5 steals, maybe a blocked shot. That is far more impactful than the 30-point game where you're doing nothing at the defensive end of the floor or in the other areas of basketball. Always good to
Yeah.
offer that kind of reminder.
One other thing too, I know you want to get on the Pepperdine, but I just want to say, London Jones had a good comeback game as well. She scored 20 points off the bench. She took some good drives. She looked for her spots and got to her spots. So London Jones had a good comeback game. I still want to see her when she when she drives deep into the paint, spray it out a little bit. If she doesn't have that shot, she tends to get caught up a little bit, but she'll work through that. But shout out to London. She had a great comeback game too as well. So or a good bounce back game, and scoring 20 points off the bench really helped our team. So
And I would just add with London Jones, like, great game here, not so great game there. If she can just be a little steadier every night, that would certainly be a lift for this team. And of course, looking down the line to tougher games and of course the Big Ten schedule, making sure that like you can count on London Jones for a certain level of production regularly, that certainly raises the floor for this USC team. All right, so Pepperdine Friday afternoon game. So like have a turkey sandwich and then head on to the Galen Center for the Waves.
yeah,
And one of the things that you're really good at drilling down on, CC, is there are general concepts, but there's always the matchup and playing to the matchup, playing to the scouting report, taking advantage of what's in front of you that day. Like obviously your talents as a basketball player should always emerge, but channeling them within the scouting report and the game plan are important. So what does Pepperdine pose for USC and how does that affect what's likely to be the scouting report on Friday?
yeah. Pepperdine, they go 5'6", 6'1", 5'11", 5'10", 5'10", or sometimes 6'2", depending on the matchup, I think. But they're small, but they're big on the wing, right? Just like we faced another team like that a couple games back where they were big on the wing, but small in the post. So that's going to be a challenge for us. Pepperdine is out of the West Coast Conference, so it's going to be another good test for us. The thing that strikes me with Pepperdine is they know they're not big and they take advantage of it by shooting their threes. They average 24 threes per game and they shoot at 40%, from the 3-point line. 61% of their 3-point shots are assisted, which means catch and shoot threes. Um, as a team. So that's interesting to me. They shoot 31 2-pointers a game, which is in the very low percentile of the NCAA across the board metrics. So 3-pointers are where they shoot from. They love the above the break threes and the corner threes. And there's two people in particular that we need to have our eye on. Ellie Gurud, I don't know how to pronounce her, but Ellie, just Ellie. She averages 16.5 points per game, and she has a 56% three-point attempt rate. So 56% of her shots are shot from the three-point line, and she shoots 43.5% from the three-point line, and she averages 10 shots a game. So 5 of
That's a
them are
pretty
coming.
easy scouting report. Runner off
Yeah,
the line.
yeah, runner off the line. And then the other one is Saleh Harmon, and she averages 11 points per game, and 62% of her shots are from the three-point line. She shoots 7 shots per game, and five of them are from the three-point line. and 96% of hers are assisted threes. So it just tells me that, mm, we need to watch the 3-point line tomorrow night, especially from those two guards. Megan Faiso is another one. She's averaging 10 points a game, but most of her shots come from the paint, and they're at the rim, and she takes 7 shots per game. So 42% in total of their shots come from the 3-point line. 42%. That's the
That's
scouting point, guys.
Yeah, I mean, that boy, defensive scouting report seems pretty clear for USC going up against Pepperdine. So, in light of that, you know, their perimeter defense is going to need to be extended because USC will need to be running those shooters off the 3-point line. So that also means like you want a rim protector in the middle. If you're going to take away the perimeter shot, so that means you're inviting the drive. That means you need a stopper in the paint. Any thoughts on how who takes that role in the front court for USC's defense in this game against Pepperdine?
It's going to be by committee, as we're seeing, but I think Viv is going to continue to get the start. Viv is 6'3", their tallest player is 6'2". I think if they drive and kick, we'll be okay. I just don't think their pace of play is really slow, so they're not doing anything off transition. It's mostly within the half court game, but they turn the ball over a lot as well. So it's going to be interesting, but I think that we run them off the line. I think Viv and front court by committee holds it down tomorrow night, and we just need to rebound. One thing I will say is Pepperdine is not a good offensive rebounding team either. So hopefully they'll get a lot of misses off their threes. We'll force them into bad shots, and we can get the defensive rebound and run the floor.
Uh, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but this seems like the kind of offense that Nebraska in the Big
Yeah,
Ten likes to run. Seems like a very
yeah.
definite comparison with the Huskers. So it
Yeah.
could be like a preview of that particular game.
Yeah, I think what Lindsay did is she wanted to bring in teams, maybe mid-major level that could replicate teams that we're going to be seeing in the Big Ten as a test to get prepared for those teams. I mean, Maryland had a four-guard offense. You saw Notre Dame run a four-guard offense. And teams that were playing in the preseason seem to replicate a lot of the teams that we're going to be playing in Big Ten. So great call on that. Yeah, I think this Pepperdine team would be like a Nebraska team, although not as good, but like a Nebraska team.
I mean, it does bring up that, Lindsay Gottlieb, like, is there a box she fails to check? Is there something that she hasn't covered or anticipated or figured out? Like, I think that's a really underappreciated part, not just of her, but of smart scheduling. That,
Yeah,
scheduling teams with playing styles that are going to prepare you for playing styles you're going to face in your conference. Like, that is 3D chess. That's thinking ahead. That's Lindsay
yeah.
Gottlieb being Lindsay Gottlieb.
And shout out to Lindsay because yesterday again out of timeouts, she called some. I mean, she called some fantastic plays, or she drew up some fantastic plays for USC to run out of timeouts, and they were both the two that I'm thinking of. They were both effective, and so one where Jazzy came off a double pick and shot a 3-pointer that I can remember that was just a beautiful play that was drawn up. So she the way she draws up plays in timeouts and when they're executed, they look so beautiful.
All right. What fundamentally are you looking for against Pepperdine? I mean, obviously, one of some of your core concepts are, young team early in the season, give this group time, learn how to play together, get better at just some basic habits. Like all those talking points would generally apply to Pepperdine, but like, is there something specific that you're really looking for from this game to set up USC for what's coming ahead in December and the tough games that await?
I want to see if our front court can get rebounds.
And Pepperdine is a smallish team against which you better be able to bring the hammer on the glass. Okay. Cece, what else you want to say about Pepperdine or about this team in general?
I think it's going to be a fun game. The waves are coming in.
The
They
waves are
won't be a
rolling in. Yeah,
they won't be a tsunami though against USC. We'll be able to ride the wave pretty well, I think. I'm trying to impose my dry humor such as yours, Matt. Am I doing a good job?
exactly. You're learning.
I'm learning. I'm learning. Yes, but it's going to be a fun game. Can't wait to be there. And yeah, I'm excited to see. Honestly, I want to see these Pepperdine 3-point shooters because I mean they're a good 3-point shooting team. So I want to see them. I want to see how they shoot the ball, where they get to their open spots, their offense that gets them to open spots for the catch and three, and how we defend against that. So I'm excited to see that.
I'll offer one thing I'm interested in, just, midday game, Friday, holidays, you know, could be a lot of tryptophan in the Galen Center. Let's see if USC can just have a very wakeful, alert start to this game. Let's get the tsunami rolling against the waves in the
There's
first
your dry.
quarter.
Your dry
That's
humor. Your
right,
dr-
but
your
but
your dry humor is so much better than mine, Matt. I tell you
but
what. I'm
but
learning though. I'm learning.
you are learning. But my key is, let's see if like an elite team, a team that's finding maturity, gets the jump early in this game and doesn't get out to that sleepy Friday afternoon holiday start. Let's see some crispness right off the bat. That's personally what I'm looking for.
Yeah, you can't get too full on the turkeys and mashed potatoes and gravy and macaroni and cheese because yeah, you have a 2 o'clock
That's for the
game and
podcasters, not the
we
athletes.
yeah we don't need you guys rolling up and down the court, going gobble gobble during the game. So yeah,
There you go.
should be fun.
Cece, tell everybody what you have going on at your USC Women's Basketball Media Lab, your one-stop shop for women's basketball information, analysis, and content as we arrive at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, continue to look at the website. You can go on the website anytime and look at player stats, advanced stats, which I want you guys to really start understanding advanced stats because they're so important. So you can go on my website and look at that. Also, um, hey, I've never told people what my Twitter is. So you guys need to follow me on Twitter X, even though Elon Musk did put out a tweet the other day asking if he should go back to the name Twitter, and mostly everybody said yes, you need to go back to the name Twitter. But my Twitter is my thoughts 0530, and I'll put it down right below there. You guys go follow me there because I'm always posting stuff there as well, and looking for interaction there as well. And then TikTok. I'm on TikTok at Inspire Me. NSPIRME. I'll put that down there as well. I post stuff there too. So, and stuff is going on in my YouTube channel. Right now, we're in the schedule. It's getting real busy. So, I'm putting out a lot of stuff regards to analytics and game recaps and so on and so forth. So, go look at those as well.
CC Clay serving up a Thanksgiving platter rich with women's basketball
Oh my
content
God.
on multiple media platforms. That's the hardest working woman in women's
Wow.
basketball, CC Clay. CC, any final thoughts as we wrap up our Thanksgiving show?
Hey, Matt, don't get too full, okay? I'm gonna need you after the game to do an analytics. So don't get Thanksgiving, tired so we can come on and do a recap after the game
Friday night.
Friday.
Friday
Yeah, but
night. Yeah.
you might eat so much that you might be out of it for 2 days straight. So, make sure you're with me on Friday night or Saturday morning.
I plan to be ready.
Okay, cool.
Cece Clay, happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for all that you do to make this show work. Just doing an outstanding job. So I hope you have a great Thanksgiving with your family, and to everyone watching and listening here at Trojans Wire, a very blessed and happy Thanksgiving to you and your loved ones. Hope you have a great holiday. Cece and I will be back at you after the Pepperdine game. Happy Thanksgiving from Trojans Wired. Fight on.
Thanksgiving, positive energy, blessings. Peace out.